And this is, at the beginning, more of an English problem than a math problem, because you have to be able to read something and interpret it and write it down. So the sum of a number and the square of a number is 20. That makes an equation. First of all, we have to know some key words. You know what sum means? We're going to add something. What are we adding? A number and the square of a number. Well, we don't know the number, so we're going to choose a letter. The most common letter chosen is X. So if that's my number, I'm going to sum. So that means I'm going to add the number and what? The square of the number. Now, is the square of the number this or this? Which one is it? The first one, right? You square something, that means multiply by itself. The other one, what would the word be if I had the other one? Square root of a number. So it's going to be x plus x squared, that's the sum, is equal to 20. And then we're like, oh, I have a quadratic equation with an x squared. I can solve this with factoring and change it to multiplying, but only if one side is equal to 0. Okay? And also, when I like to factor, I like to have my x squared first when I factor. So I'll put it first. And then I'll put the x next, and I'm going to move the 20 over. Am I allowed to just change the order of adding? Yeah. Yeah. Right? Have you ever checked? Is 5 plus 3 the same as 3 plus 5? Yeah. If you change the order for adding, it doesn't matter. And now, let's check if we can factor. And again, I'll make sure I write that it equals 0 on the other side. It would have to be x and x. Ooh, 20 is like 5 and 4, 2 and 10, 1 and 20. Does the number jump out to you? 5 and 4. Oh, because we got 1 there, right? So 5 and 4 will make my outside 4, my inside 5. I need plus 1, so I'm going to make my 5 positive and my 4 negative. Multiply it out and double check, and sure enough, 5 times minus 4 is negative 20. And so we get two answers. X equals negative 5 and x equals 4. Do we have to verify? No, we didn't have a square root equation. I mean, there's nothing saying you can't check to see if it works, right? Is 4 plus 4 squared 20? Yes. Is negative 5 plus negative 5 squared 20? Yes. Yes. So it's not a bad thing. I mean, one of the things that I liked about doing math quizzes and tests is I could check. Often you can check and you can be like, hey, I got it right. It's nice in that sense. The bad thing about math classes is you can check, and sometimes you check and you're like, oh crap, I got it wrong. I don't know what I did wrong. That's the problem. So then you're like, and you know what's the worst? Is the mistake you actually make is the mistake in checking. But then you think you got it wrong, and you redo the whole question, and now you're convinced you're wrong when actually you're checking is where you made a mistake, and you couldn't check correctly. That's frustrating. Anyways, so we get our two numbers, our negative 5 and 4, and questions with wording that you can do. Our 16, 17, and I think 19 and 20 are both in part C, so they might be a little bit harder.